But let's get it. All right, everybody. All right, let me do it again. All right, everybody. Welcome back to episode 71 of the Top Tier Podcast. My name is Pale Ale Poppy.
Nick Hogan here.
We coming in here on fire, on heat.
Yeah, we were
about business.
A heated argument. Not an argument, but
I was just, you know,
off
mic.
Always making me laugh, bro.
I get on my soapbox. Before I get on camera because it amps me up. Before I get on the mic because it amps me up. But
we got an
amped up
10
conversation.
toes down. We got an amped up conversation to get to right now. Actually, Steph Curry was on a podcast with Gilbert Arenas and made the claim that he was the best point guard in the entire history of the NBA. And some people are getting up his ass. The thing to me is, like, if Michael Jordan has to come out and say something about, no, that's not the truth, it probably isn't the truth. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. But listen, that's all I got to say. And I don't know the most about basketball. You already know. I'm usually trolling. You
know enough, though. You know enough.
But only thing I know, anybody, you don't even have to know about basketball. If you know anything about Steph Curry, he changed the fucking game.
This is facts.
I think if you change the meta of a sport,
yeah,
you're a legend in your own right.
You're allowed to be considered a GOAT. Yeah, you're allowed to be considered a GOAT. You're allowed to be considered a legend. But if we're just focusing specifically on point guards, there's a man named Magic Johnson that exists and is still alive. Right. And everybody could go and watch his clips, his highlights. There's something there where, you know, even though he did change the game and he made three-pointers as huge of a issue of a part of the game as they are today, there's still a level of, like, Steph Curry to me is more like a shooting guard type point guard.
Right. Magic
Johnson is a true point guard. I mean, you've seen the highlights, right? Did you watch The Last Dance and stuff like that? I mean, that wasn't focusing on Magic, but
I've seen him Magic play. I've seen some of his highlights.
And it's literally like the epitome of what a point guard is. Like, I don't think before Magic Johnson, and y'all can already tell, like, I'm 25, I'm a young guy. I didn't grow up watching Magic Johnson or anything like this.
Yeah,
but,
I've just seen clips of him play.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the sport. Like, I know my shit, right? If you watch Magic Johnson, like, before Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan said it himself, like, there was no such thing as, like, the importance of the triple-double. Like, the way that he was able to, like, create fast breaks and things of that nature, the way he was able to, like, dime up people and make it, like, a show and put on a spectacle and stuff like that, he was doing the same thing in that regard that Steph is doing today. So he has that under his belt as well, plus more championships, plus shorter career, more success. There's all types of different things where you could say Magic Johnson is still that nigga. Like, to me, he's still that guy.
Right. But do you think, and you did mention fast breaks, but, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he probably isn't the best point guard. Like, and from how you explained it, probably isn't. But and in every other metric, he's a legend that we remember.
Yes.
That's all I really got to say. But, like, what do you think about, you know, Steph Curry haters who won't give him his stars? Like,
in terms of, like, what though? Because, like,
in terms of being a legend, because even just him saying he's a point guard, I've heard people just shit on him and be
that's
like,
the argument that they use. Like, when they trying to shit on Steph, the argument is always like kind of what I just said, where it's like he's not a true point guard. But we've seen that before. Like Allen Iverson, for example, he was like more of a scoring guard. But people still regard him as like I don't know if they put him like top 10, but, you know, top 15, still legend status point guard. You know, Oscar Robertson, I think he was a point guard. Someone has to correct me if I'm wrong. He might have been a shooting guard, but still kind of like running the point, had the ball in his hands all the time, was a scoring guard. You know, Russell Westbrook, scoring guard, still a point guard. So that argument to me doesn't really make any sense. I only use that in the sense when we're comparing him to Magic, because Magic was literally, like I said, the epitome of what a point guard is. Like, point guards are supposed to be like the quarterbacks of the team when it comes to basketball. You're supposed to be the one that's setting everybody up. You're making sure everybody's in position. You're making sure that you're getting this person open. You know, you're running the sets properly. That's what a point guard normally, like when the sport was incepted, that's what it was supposed to be. That's what the position was. Steph has changed it into where it's like okay for the Damian Lillards to exist or for the John Morants to exist, where all you do on the court for the most part, I mean, he's gonna get his dimes and stuff like that, but for the most part, you're scoring. You're going out there and you're gonna average 30. So that's the only argument I've heard against Steph Curry. Another argument that they use is like he doesn't have like a Finals MVP until like a couple of years ago, I think. Yeah, a couple of years ago. That's the first time he got a Finals MVP. And it's like, you know, You can make the argument that the people that got the MVPs when they got him, like KD got the MVP for 1 year, and then like Iggy got an MVP for 1 year. Like they had great performances. So I don't really hold that against him. But like personally, I love Steph Curry. Steph Curry to me is the guy. Like I make the argument. I'm more inclined to make the argument that Steph Curry is more impactful in this generation than LeBron is. That's where I would go with the conversation. I wouldn't even be having the point guard conversation.
Dude, they're going to get on your ass.
They can get on my ass all they want. They can get on my ass all they want. But if you actually think about it, bro, LeBron James he's made strides in like player empowerment.
Right. But he's
where
not
it's okay. He's a specialist in like,
I think he's just like the ultimate jack of all trades for him.
Exactly.
He maxes out every stat.
But that's
he's like
kind of like a
superhuman
specialty, you know?
Right?
That's kind of like a specialty.
Steph breaks the he breaks the bar on shooting and took it far beyond. Now his other stats may be above average for an NBA player, but his fucking shooting definitely broke the scale.
Yeah.
Beyond anything anybody could. That's all I'm trying to say is that he's a hyper specialist in something to the point where he broke the max that you would expect any NBA player would be able to achieve.
And I think that the level that he's been able to bring to the NBA, like in terms of popularity, has more impact. There's other things too. Like I think that if you actually look at Steph's career and you see the impact that he's had on the NBA and on the game of basketball and on the NBA in general, like every other team is actually replicating what the Warriors do because of the fact that Steph Curry exists in the league. That to me is a more important outcome than, for example, like players being able to say, you know what, I don't want to stay with the same team my entire career. I want to go over here in free agency. I want to switch teams every 3 or 4 years. That's the only, if you're talking about plainly just in 2010s. And also like they go up against each other all the fucking time in the finals, at least like back in the 2010s. And who was coming out on top?
That was something to witness. That's gonna be crazy talking to our children about that stuff.
Who was going up? Who was coming up on top? It was Steph. Yeah, Steph's team was winning over LeBron's team. And y'all could talk about the super teams. I already know where the narrative's gonna go. I be up in the threads and everything. I already know where the narrative's gonna go. But all I'm saying is that if you actually looking at the facts and taking aside all your little narratives and stuff, all LeBron sexual narratives and stuff like that, Steph Curry has a bigger impact in the 2010s than LeBron James has.
Yeah, he changed the game. Because this is, again, already know what it is. I'm going to stop saying that. But, with LeBron, I just feel like LeBron is, I don't see how he changed the game in any metric that I can understand other than him just being a fucking beast.
It's what I said.
Like, Steph is a beast.
Player empowerment.
Yeah, but in what he is doing, he's actively altered how the game is played. I just don't think LeBron.
So much so to where.
He's amazing, though.
So much so to where they are thinking about adding a 4-point line, bro, because it has become so ubiquitous that the 3-point skill is just out of this world to where it's like, does the 3-pointer even matter anymore? It almost has lost its strategy because everybody's jacking up threes. You got teams out here shooting 50 up to 50 3-pointers a game. Exactly. I think, or like 30 at least. I don't know.
Like, they probably just recruiting shooters. Like, you don't even have to be the fastest.
3-point specialist isn't even a thing anymore.
If you could hit threes consistently, you're in the NBA. That's kind of crazy.
I think about the fact that it's so ubiquitous now that 3-point specialists aren't even a thing anymore. There's no like you're not if you can't shoot the 3, even if you're 7 feet fucking tall, you're not going to really succeed in the league. If you can't shoot the 3, it just has to be a part of your game. That did not exist before Steph Curry.
So Shaq would be irrelevant if Shaq was just Shaq was born in this era. Dude.
That's a good question.
Came up right trying to get to the league now in college today. What would it look like for him?
Shaq would still, because he's 7'2". He's like 280 pounds. He was up to like 300 something pounds at a certain point. That level of physical dominance, it doesn't even matter if you can't shoot threes at that point. Because I'm just gonna dunk on everybody. Who can guard Shaq? Nobody.
They probably just gonna have him get the layup if they miss the 3. Just
or
stand
just dunk on your ass.
Just stand here. If I miss the 3, just put it in.
And especially because the big men today suck.
Yeah.
You got Jokic.
But that's probably why they suck, because everybody's focused on threes.
And because it's
from
just
my
kind of like,
perspective-
yeah. It kind of plays into the same thing. Like, yeah, everybody's so focused on threes that even if you are 7 feet tall, even if I am Joel Embiid, and I'm 7'2", and I weigh 280 pounds or 290 pounds, I'm still gonna try to get my perimeter game off. Because otherwise, it's just like you don't have that much value for some reason. It's to the point now to where you could be so physically dominant in the paint to where people are saying like, oh yeah, he's physically dominant, but he can't shoot. It's to that point.
Yeah.
Nigga, I average 30. You want me to shoot in order to prove my greatness to you? Like, that's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's probably the swag. It's probably the swag with it. Like, yeah, all you can do.
It's that
like
element
it's like
the
cheat codes.
shimmies.
Like you were literally born to just jump and just tap it in. Like, what kind of skill is that? Like, I guess maybe that's what I always used to think. Like, if I was born 7 foot, if I had a son who was 7 foot, you better get your ass on that court.
There's
nothing else to say. It's free. It's free millions. Like, at least I think, as long as you're not completely uncoordinated, if you're average to above average athletics and you're 7'5" or 7'3" or 7'2", you better get your ass on that court.
And you can still, it doesn't even, like, everybody knows about Kwame Brown. Everybody knows about Kwame Brown. This nigga wasn't talented. He wasn't coordinated that much. He wasn't athletic. And he was still able to get to the league. Like, he still got his millions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's still possible. You don't even have to be that good. Like, nigga, you're 7 feet something tall. Get your ass in the league.
All you got to do is hop and just put it in.
Just dunk it.
Not even jump. You could dunk it. Just all they got to do is just a little hop, just a little skip. Like, you know, like them little ass. Remember when we were in Viewpoint, they would bring the courts down from the middle schoolers, and you could really get up and dunk. It's probably the same shit. Like, if you're like 5'6" and up, you can dunk on that fucking shit.
It's like child's play at that point. That shit is easy. That shit is easy. But we got some more sports. You want to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson?
So yeah, Sha'Carri Richardson. She recently won the 100-meter dash at the World Athletics Championship this year. And the internet's in a firestorm because previously, when she lost the year prior, social media was in an uproar, and a lot of Jamaicans who won that year were getting in her ass. They were just saying, "You guys ain't good enough. She ain't working hard." Her mom had recently passed, and they was talking shit about her and making memes. And she had something to say. So you know, quote what she said. She said, "I'm glad I'm glad the win I had in the 100 actually brought unity, even though we're competitors. That doesn't mean we have to be enemies." And then she went on to say that, you know, because before, you know, there was a lot of disunity on there, and people were talking crazy about me. But I'm glad now that I won, there's actually unity now. So she said it in a very passive aggressive way. What do you think about this? You know,
I didn't even know that there was like any attacks that were going her way about her losing in terms of like the Black diaspora conversation. I didn't even know that was a thing before you like brought this topic to me. You know, I think it's like more of a isolated instance. I don't hear about this in any other sport because of the fact that this is like a global sport. When you were talking about track and field, like Sha'Carri Richardson's like in the Olympics and stuff. She's going up against people that are from other countries and stuff like that. So the Black diaspora conversation is more elevated when it comes to those types of sports. If you're dealing with something like NBA or NFL, those are American sports. You know, you're gonna probably have some like foreign blacks in there or whatever from other countries, but it's not gonna be to where like if some dude from like Joel Embiid, for example, in the NBA just recently won the MVP, right? You're not gonna have a conversation in the NBA talking about like, finally, you know, we got proof that a Cameroonian and an African player is better than an American black player. That's not going to happen.
That's exactly not in that situation, but in this situation now, it's almost like, you know, smaller country will win, you know, especially among like, you know, African diaspora. It's kind of like we showed those black Americans, yeah, but when we win, all of a sudden this is a win for all of African kind. It's like, no, you was running your goddamn mouth a year ago. Yeah,
but then what are you going to say? Like, because people are going to rebuttal with like, well, aren't we all the same in terms of like the black diaspora, right?
But when
Shouldn't
we
all
say
be
that,
on each other's side,
when we say that, it's no, nigga, you're a Nakata or whatever. You're a Yankee, or you know, some people say Jamaicans call us Yankees. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that. No, I've seen Nakata with my own eyes. I've never seen Yankee. But like, you know, it's like, why is it? It's kind of like seems narcissistic. It's like when I win, It's like, oh no, it's not that important. We all won. But when you win, it's like, nah, this is about Jamaicans. Nah, we just a different breed. Nah, we just better. You know, I don't, and you know, you were just saying you want to wear this, but I kind of follow this kind of thing. That there's been like a larger kind of diaspora war going on Twitter since, you know, the George Floyd riots. I've seen it, where it's just been, you know, a lot of African Americans are kind of getting tired of being talked crazy to a lot of Africans.
Pan-Africanism.
Yeah, or like there's like been a rejection of Pan-Africanism, at least among a lot of black Americans. There's been like an overall rejection of Pan-Africanism that hasn't been taken very well, because it's kind of like I said before, it's like I'm an Akata or Jareer or whatever, you know, slur. It's a slur for us, but do we have slurs for Somalians or Jamaicans or Africans? Or
Not
whatever?
really, but we do have,
any?
you know, like our own, like, you know, I guess you can call it, I don't want to call it prejudice, but like our own, like we've been indoctrinated, kind of brainwashed to believe that like Africa is like subpar. Not even just like the specific African countries, but just like Africa as an entire continent.
Right.
You think of Africa, at least most Americans, it's probably like a Western thing. But like you think of Africa and you think of like impoverished, you think of like undeveloped, no infrastructure, no internet and shit like that. Like niggas just out here and they fucking draws and shit, like sipping water out of a fucking river. That's what you think of. So it's probably like a lack of education on that. Not probably. It is a lack of education on that end. But yeah, like I don't know. What do you think?
I just felt like, dude, like I feel like we've always welcomed Africans in. Like, a lot of Africans, I'm sure, would probably say, "Well, I got called a booty scratcher in school, and y'all made fun of my name." But I'm like, I know other Black Americans was calling people booty scratchers too. I got called a African booty scratcher. So I don't really think that's the same as calling somebody an Akata or a Jareer or a Yankee or something like that. I just think it's just we just Jones on each other because we considered ourselves Africans.
Yeah, because what you're saying,
because of Pan-Africanism.
What you're saying is that you've seen like there's more of a vocal. I don't know if it's a minority or a majority, but like on the internet, you'll see more people actually having like vocalizing their prejudice against other Black
specifically
Americans, like Black Americans, right?
Yeah, or we get told you guys have no culture,
and you don't see it vice versa. Yeah, that culture thing is like a big thing.
Oh, and we can move into Burna Boy, who's a rap, or we can move into Burna Boy and Akon, right?
Right.
They've both been very vocal over the last couple of years, like Black Americans got no culture, just in disarray. Come to Africa.
And there's like, Black Americans that say the same thing.
I've heard it more. I was at the park one time. Black Americans like, yeah, man, you know we don't know anything. You know we don't have no culture. I'm like, do you not know what culture is? Our culture is literally American culture.
Yeah.
All the way back to the fucking banjo, to jazz, to rock and roll, blues, to modern hip hop. All that is ours. You look at K-pop. Tell me we don't have a culture and the whole world copies us.
But what do you think it is? Like, what do you think makes them think that like the cult? Like, what is it about that word culture that people don't associate it with like the arts? Because I think when people say that, I think it's more aligned with like the amount of power maybe, or like the amount of representation in certain spaces that makes people feel like
it's everywhere. If you're talking about representation in spaces, everybody and their mom will not stop copying.
Then what do you think it is to where people are able to make that argument that there's no culture?
I think it's, I think people make this, or people say that using AAVE, by the way. They'll say that we have no culture while wearing clothes that look like us, speaking like us, listening to music that we've made, the whole 9 yards. But I think people say this is like, they're like, well, you don't have a culture going back thousands of years and all this traditional yeah. I'm like, when's the last time you seen an African dressed like he was on the set of Coming to America? You talking about culture? You come over here with a do-rag and your hat backwards, and you listen to hip hop, and you doing, street graffiti, all that stuff, like hip hop movement, everything. You talking with AAVE, and they be talking about they don't have no culture. Well, everything he's doing is trying to copy the swag of a Black Americans.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, like. It's everything is to demean us. Like that's what I'm saying. So going back to Sha'Carri, everybody thinks that, but then I think people say this is because if they can say you have no culture, all of your wins can be attributed to them, while they don't like you either. It's easy to just be like, if Sha'Carri wins, she don't got an ethnic group anyway, so her winning means that Kenya won. And you can feel that you got some kind of fake win.
Because she's still Black.
Because she's still African. She don't know where she's from. She's beneath us, but it's still the win for Africa.
But then as soon as she loses, you flip the narrative right back.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
As soon as she loses, there's the kind of niggas don't have no type of discipline and they just lazy. This is a win for Jamaica. It's very easy to just perpetually keep you as this otherized, lost tribe African versus we have 500 culture going back 500-600 years and 12 generations in America, and we've had to completely rebuild a whole new culture that's taking the world by storm
and shifting.
That's all
and
I gotta
shifting
say.
culture and shifting culture and shaping
culture.
it as well.
To the point where people are trying to. They want it so badly. They want to just keep you in this. You were a slave. Y'all don't know nothing. I'm like 500 years, my guy.
Far? My God.
No, bro. I don't want to spend too long on this diaspora war topic, but I've seen some heinous things said about us, and now that we're pushing back, a lot of the narratives are like, no, we do have a culture, and no, you're copying it. Now it's, why are you being xenophobic? Why can't we come together? Why can't we have Pan-Africanism? I'm like, y'all didn't want Pan-Africanism.
That's interesting,
When you look at America now, you see there's Haitians live together. Somalis have areas they live, and there's a lot of slurs for us. And it's like, well, damn, nigga, like, don't talk about Pan-African. That's what Sha'Carri is saying. When I win now, it's all of a sudden, now we all won. But y'all have your own separate communities. Y'all have your own narratives about us. The tribalism in Africa is off the chain, so let's not even go there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just support mine.
Take responsibility.
You go support yours.
Yeah, like you can't take responsibility for the wins that you're trying to set yourself apart from the losses of. It's a convoluted sentence, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. So we're gonna keep it a buck. We FBA. We not. That's why you're seeing in the government the delineation is happening. So I don't know if you've seen on like a lot of job applications in California now. Well, you're not in California, you're in Texas, but in California, they've passed laws where when you select your race, and they don't ask you specifically, are you Somali? Are you Jamaican? Are you a freedman, Black and African American? They got to change that, because then they could still click African American and just lie about it. Or you can lie about it anyway. I mean, people put white on their job application anyway. But it's a small.
I knew somebody who was like, "Yeah, I have to put white." And all nigga, no, they have a section for you. You just put in white because you want to be white. Like
exactly.
That's funny. You want to talk about new music?
Yes. Let's move into Drake. The Drake album cover.
Yeah, we all thought that Drake was gonna drop his album this weekend. I was one of them, bro. I was waiting, bro. When I woke up at on Friday morning, 5 a.m., I was looking. And that shit was nowhere to be found. But he did release his album cover. And you know how the internet's going to do with Drake. They always going to find something to pick at. And so they was picking at the album cover for his new album, For All the Dogs. This nigga, bro, the album cover is made by his son, I think he said, right? Mm-hmm. It was a drawing that his son made.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. He put it on Instagram. He said that Adonis made it. His son made it. I don't know. I don't think that there's any problem with the album cover. I also don't think there's any problem in, like, why do we expect all of a sudden for Drake to have like the most brilliant album covers? Since when is that a thing?
I don't think he's ever even, I don't think any of his, I think he has some good ones, but I don't think any of his album
Nothing was the same.
Maybe other than Take Care.
Maybe Take Care, yeah. People love Take Care, and people love Nothing Was the Same. Those two album covers are the ones. And that was a very simple one too. Nothing Was the Same was nice, but wasn't it like Baby Drake, and it's just his head looking sideways? Yeah, I was like, that's cool. That's nothing crazy. It's iconic now though, but because that album was great. But I really hope with this album that he actually just releases like something that was very reminiscent of the Honestly Nevermind, so that he could just put everybody in this place. Bro, I'm telling you, I said this before too, like, y'all gonna get on Drake so much to where he's gonna actually start hearing y'all, and he's gonna actually start putting out the stuff that he knows y'all are gonna hate. He's gonna do that.
He's rich enough where it doesn't even matter.
And he's petty petty enough too. That's another thing. Like, y'all better start playing with the boy. Like, he's gonna fight back at a certain point.
I like that dance dance music shit.
I thought it was good. I like that.
I would go to a whole festival of people playing that kind of music.
I play that on to this day.
That shit is groovy. I just think now that I know that his son made it, it makes more sense. Even though I like it. I thought it was some aesthetic about it. They probably touched it up and did some other shit to it, but like, I think it's cool. For All the Dogs, like, especially if your son made it, like, I think that's cool. Like,
isn't it okay for you to celebrate your child's artwork? Like, if Kanye were to put a fucking picture of that Northwest made, no one's gonna say the same shit. Niggas just love to hate on Drake because he's Drake.
Yeah.
It's
we
always the
have
same
a homie,
shit.
We have a homie who he's like a Drake
A
hater.
hate boner for Drake.
He has a hate boner for Drake.
Like he gets
posted
hard.
an album cover. That was the first time I saw it. And he was like, "What is this?"
I know. I'm
This
like,
is
bro,
garbage.
like not everybody pays that much attention to a fucking album cover. Like if you hate Drake, just say you hate Drake. You can't you gonna have a judgment about how the album's gonna turn out because of the fact that he released a picture of his fucking son made. That's silly. That's silly. I really hope he just gives you guys something that you don't want. But I don't think he's gonna do that. He has been talking about the album. And he did say that y'all think that you went the old Drake back, so I'm gonna give you some of that old Drake. I hope what he means by that is that he's gonna give us some R&B. That's the type of Drake that I want to hear.
Right.
That's the type of Drake that came out back in the day. Is that R&B, that type of Drake. That's what I want to hear.
He changed the game with that. The singing nigga shit. Him, Kanye, and Wayne. Music would not be the same.
Wayne? I don't know about Wayne.
But there would be no Drake without Wayne, if I understand correctly.
There'd be no Drake without Wayne, probably. But Wayne's not a
discover
singer.
him? Didn't Wayne discover him?
Yeah,
I'm just saying in
he's on
terms
his
of
label.
discovery. Well, I guess you could say the same with Kanye and Rock. Didn't Rock Nation sign Kanye, or was that later? He was a producer for them in the documentary.
It was Rock Nation, yeah. Or no. Yeah. I mean, overall, yes. Because, it's like they trickle down. Like there's the Rock Nation that owns whatever, and then that owns whatever, that owns whatever. But yeah, I guess technically it was Rock Nation.
But yeah, I have no problems with this. I do think album covers in the last couple of years for mainstream music have been pretty trash, though.
Who looks at album covers anymore? We listen to the shit on our phone. It's not like you have the album. Like you don't have the physical vinyl case for the album.
That's a good point. Yeah, because back then, I have a lot of vinyl. I collect vinyl, and like not only do they have like the album cover on the outside, when you open it up, there's a lot of like exclusive artwork you would only see if you got the vinyl.
Does anybody even pay attention to that anymore? I don't even think.
No.
I literally
Who's getting Drake vinyls? Who didn't mind? I saw some people do, but like, why would you buy a vinyl for Drake? Now, CD.
Why would you buy a vinyl for J. Cole?
Because it's J. Cole.
Well, it's Drake. Don't you have a J. Cole vinyl? I thought you had a J. Cole vinyl.
I do.
Yeah, that's why I said it. I was trying to take a shot. I was being stupid.
That's one of my favorite albums of all time, though.
Are you looking forward to For All the Dogs?
I'm gonna listen to it, but I'm not really. I'm not a fan of modern Drake. I'm just not a fan of modern Drake.
You about to make me walk off this.
I like certain. Like honestly, Nevermind has some cuts, But that album with the pregnant.
Certified Lover Boy.
Bed? Yeah, I was like, that album was garbage. Other than like one or two songs.
All right. I'm gonna give you it. You can have your own opinion.
Everything since Scorpion has been like, nigga has just been phoning
Since
it in
Scorpion.
and making money.
I thought you didn't like Scorpion. Scorpion was kind of bad.
Yeah, from Scorpion onward, I mean. So including Scorpion onward was like, it's been mid. I thought More Life was great. I thought, what came before that? Views. I like Views and Hotline Bling. That was like Drake in his bag. Like that hot Views to More Life, that was Drake in his fucking bag. When we were in high school, that was Drake in his bag.
I think he's only getting better, honestly. The Drake I hear today is just getting more crafty. He's breaking out new flows. He's breaking out new marketing. I like
jacking flows though, bro. Like he stole the XX.
Let's be honest. Come on. I know with rap we have this conversation.
Can't keep my dick in my pants.
There's this entire narrative that like if you're not creating something new in rap, then it's copycat. Bro, do people even understand what pop music is? Pop music is literally intended. Pop music is literally intended for you to recreate the feeling of another song. Christmas music, okay? If it didn't sound like another Christmas song, it wouldn't be considered a good Christmas song. That's what popular music is. Right. So can we really get on Drake for not creating and honestly, do you know how fucking hard it is to create at this point, 50 years later, it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop. You know how hard it is to create a new flow? Like we want this nigga to create a new flow every single album? Yeah. Like Jesus Christ.
I think hip hop is kind of on it, not necessarily on his way out, but I think it's due for a big revolution.
What do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to go in like a Lil Uzi and JPEG Mafia direction. I think I said this before, where it's like, it's not really rap. Experimental,
not
kind
rap,
of dark.
Not rap.
It's still going to be rap. So maybe not, I didn't listen to Pink Tape. I listened to a little bit.
Uzi ain't rapping.
So he wasn't rapping on that one. I understand that. But I'm talking about, like, what was his last album? Like Eternal Take, but like actually coherent, mixed with JPEG Mafia, where it's like this kind of more, it's kind of darker. Like this kind of, they kind of screaming a little bit. It's kind of like,
Not rap.
Kind of punk rocky, but it's
not,
like
you said punk rock. That's not.
But
rap.
they still rapping though. They still rapping though. Like they still rap, but it's like
I think
they're
rap is just
they're
too
more
much,
experimental with it.
And I think it's too much of a mainstay for rap to play out. I mean, we could. I also think it's like age too. Like I if you're actually like a rap fan and you enjoy just listening to people rap, right? You're not gonna have the same argument that me and you were gonna have, where it's like, oh, rap is played out. Rap is kind of, the wave is kind of past. You're not gonna have that same argument because you enjoy rap. There's a reason why rap is like the main genre that people listen to today. Pop is kind of taking it back, like pop music, like singing and stuff like that. But rap is still, you have singers that want to rap. There's a reason for that. There's an entire like culture surrounding hip hop that no other genre really has anymore. Rap is too much of a mainstay for it to just fade out. We get annoyed like because we're getting older now, and like we miss like the older artists and like how they used to do it. It's the same thing as all these fucking old heads from the 80s and 90s, where it's like, oh, that's not real rap. What you listening to ain't real rap. They're probably saying the same thing about Drake. That's not real rap. He's singing. That's not real rap. That's kind of what we on today.
Yeah. And let's move into Kanye, because I feel like this is what you're saying is very relevant to Kanye.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also feel like Kanye ain't been really hitting since.
Oh my God. I just disagree. You didn't like Donda though.
No, I did not. I thought
Donda was beautiful.
I skipped through Donda. I was like, what is this shit?
Donda was beautiful. It was beautiful. He was actually super vulnerable. If you go back and you actually listen to those songs, the feelings that he was putting in that. And Kanye's always been known since Dark Fantasy to actually be very vulnerable. And the feelings that he was putting in Donda were very, very like aligned. It wasn't the same as Dark Twisted Fantasy, but it was very aligned with the feeling that I was getting from Dark Twisted Fantasy, where he's just exposing a lot of stuff. That was when he was going through his divorce and stuff. He's talking about his kids and stuff like that. That stuff really touched me. This is going to be corny. You're going to make fun of me. I actually shed tears to listening to Donda. I forget which song it is.
My God.
You can clown me all you want, but I actually shed tears to listening to Donda. I thought it was really touching.
I don't know. I might have to, because I'm famous, to myself, for this, where it's like I'll listen to an album like this shit was garbage, and I'll actually listen to it.
Trash.
I actually listen to it again. I'm like, you know what? I just didn't see the genius of it the first time.
Yeah,
and that happens, and then I become a fanboy of it. It happens a lot.
I think we get used to when we're listening to rap that we don't listen to the lyrics,
yeah.
Which is weird too, because people still make fun of the lyrics. So it's like, what do you really want? Do you want lyrics or do you want beats?
You want beats? Yeah, when we were talking about Travis, like
same thing. Yeah,
the last album struggled with both because like I'm not expecting Travis to have good lyrics.
What? Yo, you're missing today. You're missing on your rap takes. I'm sorry. I
don't know, man. But
the beats on Utopia were fire.
Man, they were. They were like I'm expecting Travis beats like doo 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 not make anything. Like I'm getting like even same with Uzi. Uzi has like this. He's kind of like real experimental, like rock star, kind of like almost like electro kind of beats. Like they got like a little psychedelic edge to him. Like a Uzi beat, a Travis beat. Travis didn't know if he wanted to be Kanye or Travis. That's my problem with Utopia.
Hey, but you like Kanye beats though, right?
Yeah, but like these are like Donda type beats on the album.
Oh maybe I'm wrong. You missed it today. I'm sorry. You missing me. You missing me today with the rap takes. I'm sorry. But we were talking about Kanye in terms of like the fact that he's actually going to release new music soon. That's the reports, right? Is that he's actually he's planning on making some new music. They're saying he's working with Ty Dolla $ign, and he has his whole team together and stuff like that. I only thought that was interesting because of the fact that it's the same time that Drake is about to release his album, and now all of a sudden. And it's Kanye at the lead of this. He's the reason why all this report is coming out. Is because he's probably the one that's circulating the shit. Is the Drake beef and the Kanye beef still existent?
I don't think so. I thought the beef was around because he was still married to Kim, and he was trolling. He was making it seem like he fucked his wife.
But how come all of a sudden Drake's about to release an album and now Kanye is working on new music? It's plotted. That shit, You can't tell me that shit is not a plot.
Do you think these dudes get in a room and it's like, all right, this is the beef this is how we're going to set up this year?
Yes, they do. Yes, that's marketing. That's what they do. With rap, the rollouts are always circulated around beef. Like we can go all the way back to like West Coast versus East Coast. That's what it always has been. Maybe not like back in like the 80s and 70s, but like modern rap, like yeah, like
once it went more corporate, then it became about beefs.
but it's still beef. Like even with the female rappers, they do that. We remember they tried to plot Nicki Minaj up against the Ice Spice. They tried to plot Nicki Minaj up against Doja Cat and stuff like that.
Cardi B,
right?
Especially Cardi B, they was actually fighting.
They make it like almost like violent to where niggas is shooting each other and shit and like killing each other and shit, like Biggie Tupac shit.
I never understood the rappers killing each other shit. Like if somebody was like, that nigga's a phony and a fraud, I'm like, I'm gonna go kill him. Like, what?
I don't know if they still doing that today. Maybe like some low key rapper we never heard of is probably trying to go out here and get like a little like find out like who they gonna try to pull up on or whatever. I don't know if that's really still a thing anymore. There's more like gang violence in like the 90s and stuff like that. But yeah, it still exists in terms of like the beefs being a thing and stuff like that. That's still a thing. I don't think people pay attention to it though. Do I think Kanye's what?
Good in terms of like, you think he can come back from, I fucking love Hitler.
No, that's why I hate talking about Kanye.
Things I fucking love. He looked like he was like about to nut or something like that. I was like, nigga, like
this is what I'll say. I don't think that he should have any room. I don't think he should have. We should regard him in the same way that we regard like R. Kelly, where it's like if you hear someone playing an R. Kelly song, you're gonna look at him like, nigga, really, nigga. Yeah. That's how we should regard Kanye. But Kanye has so many stans and so many young fans to where he's probably uncancelable.
He's gonna come back. They may talk about it for a little bit, and then it's gonna be gone.
Which is a shame, because we're gonna get on our woke shit right now. At least I am. Like, you can't be saying that type of shit and actually think that that's okay, and that like people are still gonna listen to you.
He took the cooning too far, and I even gave him a pass on Amaga. I was like, oh, he's bipolar. I
gave him a pass for that too.
He's probably a lonely man, like in a certain extent, to the extent that like he might be alone in his money. Mm-hmm. Maybe his relationship with his wife isn't too good. Like I gave him a pass, but like he was doing so much trouble.
The Nazi stuff. The Nazi stuff is
he
where
was doing
just
too much cooner. He was running around with Nick Fuentes and going on Alex Jones. I was like, nigga, you're beyond going.
Yeah, you can't be doing all that stuff. Meeting with Candace Owens and stuff. Like wearing what was the t-shirt? Yeah. What was the t-shirt?
Why Lives Matter.
Yeah, you can't be doing that type of stuff, bro. You can't be doing that type of stuff. I'm not going. That's the hardest part about it is like, I literally just said like we should regard him as R. Kelly. Like I don't listen to R. Kelly music anymore because of who R. Kelly is and like his past and his history. We all know it. So it's kind of like, if Kanye releases new music, because I deleted all this shit off my phone too. Like, I'm actually serious about this shit. Like, I try to stand on principle. But when Kanye releases new music, am I going to listen to it? Probably. Like, I have to keep it a buck. I have to be honest. I'm probably going to listen to it, which is a shame. Because if I like the shit, I'm going to continue to listen to it. And that's a damn shame. But that's the thing about, like, really good artists, man. It's like, music touches the soul, and if you write a song to where it's just like so impactful to a person, and that you catch a vibe, you catch a mood to it, and like you probably just gonna keep listening to that shit. But like, I hate to support the man financially. That's the only thing.
But yeah, that's really I gotta talk about Kanye. Let's move into Steve Harvey, man.
Yeah, Steve Harvey has some rumors floating around. That shit ain't true though.
This is rumors, nothing out in the horse's mouth yet, but everybody and mom are like obsessed with this. Apparently, his wife cheated on him. His current wife, his third wife.
That's what they out here saying.
And apparently they're saying they cheated on him with the bodyguard.
Yeah, the bodyguard. And it's funny because the story about how like Steve Harvey and his wife got married is because of the fact that his bodyguard, and I don't know if it's the same bodyguard, but his bodyguard was the one that said like, nah, you need to marry that one. That's the one for you. So if it's the same bodyguard, that's fucking hilarious. The thing I thought about when I first heard about this story, it's just rumors, by the way. Like we said that already, but it's just rumors. But like, this is kind of the reason why, like, as a young 25-year-old, and a lot of people of our generation hold this to be true too, like, marriage just doesn't really make any sense anymore. Especially like as a man, understanding the fact that like courts take it a little bit differently against the man. I don't want to say like it's like unequal or whatever like that in terms of like divorce papers and stuff like that, or like who's gonna get most assets and stuff like that. But when we look at like a lot of these relationships and a lot of these divorce cases, most of the time the man is the one that ends up getting fucked. There's examples of it happening the other way, like Halle Berry, for example. She's going through her divorce papers and stuff like that. Right. But like most of the time, like the man is the one that gets fucked. There's no reason for me to get married if that's gonna fucking end up happening to me.
Yeah, I'm not. Nah, if relationship doesn't work out, especially if you cheated on me and you get half my money, I'm
And you
gonna be
get half
bitter
my money.
and jaded for the rest of my life.
You get the house. You get the kids. Like, for real? That's how we doing it?
Yeah.
And it's even so bad to where like you could be like the fucking breadwinner. They take half your assets. It can get so bad to where it's like you're the one that's actually taking care of the kids. You have full custody of the kids for the goddamn most part. You taking care of the kids for the most part. And still, there's like there's like wiggle room for them, for the woman to be like, nah, like I need to get more child support. Like I have the kids in my possession like most of the fucking time.
If you rich and she getting $10K a month, right? And you're rich, and she probably only spend like 1 or 2K on the kids.
Yeah, there's too much wiggle room. There's too much
designer
and
this,
spouse
and designer
support and
that,
stuff like that.
Vacations and.
It's like the inevitable, and we have to think about it like that. Like statistically, we have to think about it. In the United States of America, I think it's more than 50% of marriages end up in divorce.
Yeah, it's like 60%.
The majority of relationships are going to end up in divorce.
Time. That's why I'm like, and you got to be careful with this too. I kind of want like a long-term girlfriend. Like we jumped the broom. We know we're married. We know we're long-term exclusive. We're just not married on paper.
He said non-traditional relationship.
Non-traditional relationship, and I'm not gonna, that's what I'm saying. It's also I want to marry somebody who got kind of the same level of financial status as me. So if it doesn't work out, we can just shake it. All right, when am I getting the kids? Boom, and we go about our day. But if you got to be careful with that, because in certain states, I think it's like after 10 years or 20 years, two people living in the same household, you technically are married. They can technically say y'all are married. Like by law, we can just
you still owe them.
We can just move in. Yeah, you still owe. They can just
That's
move
what
in
I'm saying,
and
bro.
say,
It's
like y'all are married. So
they set up, for some reason, like they set up the legislation to where it's like it's almost like siding with the woman just innately, just right off the bat. To me, marriage, and I know people are probably going to argue against it, but like to me, marriage, we've been indoctrinated, we've been brainwashed to believe that marriage is like when two people love each other, you get married. That's not what it is, at least not to the courts. Not to the government. The United States of America is not saying like, oh yeah, you guys love each other. If it was strictly about love, that would be the precedent that you guys are setting in the courtroom. Is that I loved him more, or no, I loved her more, and that's how you would break the shit off, right? That's not how it happens. It's not how it happens. So like, I'm at the point now to where it's like, and again, 25-year-old talking about marriage, no intention of marrying anytime soon within the next 10 years, but still, I think that the argument is still a valid one. Like. At this point, I think that's the reason why a lot of our generation is kind of moving towards like non-traditional relationships, not always siding with like marriage, even to the point where it's like we don't even want to have kids. A lot of us is because of the fact that like we starting to get like a lot more conscious of the fact that these things are like business arrangements. This is like economics at play. It's not all about love and all that lovey-dovey shit, all that like idealistic couples and like who are like in love and stuff like that. That's not really what it's about, especially not with marriage.
Definitely not with marriage. I don't know. Non-traditional marriages, I think, are going to move into the future. But I also think, can't judge other people because other people are doing the whole
never that. Yeah,
polyamory where it's like or like polygamy. Some dudes are like, I have 3 wives. Like, what are your thoughts on polygamy?
I wouldn't do it myself. I don't have enough energy to be able to like focus on multiple women at once and make sure that every single woman that I'm with is like, I couldn't even do the baby mama thing. Like you look at like Nick Cannon and stuff like that, Future and stuff. I couldn't do that. Yeah, there's no way.
Imagine if Nick Cannon took a day to himself and just turned his phone off and turned it back on. I can promise you.
There's so many fires.
So many fires, so many text messages. Your son needs this and your son needs that and he needs diapers and you need to send some money for this, and you need to come over here. Oh, his graduation's today. Oh,
it's too much energy.
Today. It's like, damn.
There's too much energy. I don't have the energy for it. Another thing I was looking at when I was looking at this Steve Harvey thing is like, like a lot of times men think that like we're the ones that are in control because like we're supposed to be like the dominant one. We ask them out and like we are the ones that set up the dates and like we're the ones that propose and all this type of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, it's really the woman who's in control of exactly how this shit goes. I don't know a lot of men who are going to forcefully divorce somebody in the way that like we see Steve Harvey's wife. I don't know if she's divorcing him or whatever. There's, again, rumors.
Yeah, the rumor is she wants half. They're getting a divorce. She wants half. And it's like, but you were cheating.
I don't know a lot of niggas who's going to try to set up a divorce like that. I don't know a lot of niggas. My question to you is, do you agree with me? Do you think that it's the woman who has most of the control in these relationships?
Yes, I do believe so. Even getting into the relationship, and women choose. That's why a lot of dudes go after women and they get rejected. I don't know why I can't get a woman. It's like, well, you got to be looking at who's looking at you. You got to be able to see the choosing signal, see the signs.
Facts.
Give me the looks. Like, oh shit, I've been chosen. Now, as a man, I have to go initiate the conversation. That's what I didn't understand this I didn't understand this pre-college either. I'd be confused about shit and be getting wrecked and my feelings hurt in high school because I didn't have the eyes. Then I got the eyes and I was like, she ain't fuck with me. I ain't gonna holler.
Signals, right?
She looking at me. I could tell she looked me up and down. She wasn't impressed. Cool. Let me move on to the next one. You don't even waste your time. You just know who's fucking with you, who's not fucking with you.
And the women who know that, they fucking ball. We're talking about Harvey's, like Lori Harvey. There's a reason why she out here balling, getting all these niggas that she wants to get the damn St. Idrises and the Michael B. Jordans that every other woman wants.
Her mom,
but she probably trained her to understand like the ball is in your court. You're the one that's controlling exactly. Like, you control the tempo. If you don't want to have sex, we ain't having sex. What's the nigga gonna say if the girl's like, nah, I'm not ready yet? All right, I'll wait. Right? Nah. It's like yes, we do. Stop.
If she's fine, if she's bad, I've been in situations where they're like, I'm good. And I kind of, unless she's bad, I'm stepping off. I'm not wasting my time. Or it's like, let's wait till we become official. Like, I'm not committing to nothing. I told you that story before. Where if I'm not committing to nothing, if I don't know what the sex is like.
It's cap though. It's cap. And I'll tell you why. It's cap because if she were to hit you up the next week. And you might have you thought you moved on or whatever. But if she hits you up the next week and was like, all right, I'm ready. Where's she going with it?
Of course. Because I got what I wanted.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You sticking around for that.
So I ain't going to stick around for shit until you call me and let me know.
But you're following her tempo, though. You still giving her what she wants. Because that's another thing.
But if she is fine, I'll wait 6 months. If she's like banging like some of these Instagram models I follow,
bro. We think that's what I'm saying. That's why I set it up that way, because men really think that like we're the ones that are controlling the way that this shit goes out, the way that this shit plays out. It's not that. Like, you thinking that she didn't give you what you wanted, so now you gonna move on and gonna try to get what you want. But really, what's happening is because you still gonna go back to her. You still gonna go back to her and lay the dick down, aren't you? That's what you said.
Course, yeah.
So really, what's happening? If you looking at it just like from a third person view. Really what happened is she told you she didn't want to do it today, but she wants to do it tomorrow, and you obliged. She controlled your ass. That's what I'm saying.
Good point.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, balls is always in a woman's court. And I just think, Lori, I don't know. Look at her and her mom. They got the same kind of look, man. That same kind of like, I'm running games on these niggas and they don't even know. Kind of like smug kind of look.
We already know Lori Harvey's about that life. Lori Harvey's about that life. If it's not, what did she say? If it's not pleasing me, if it's not making me happy, then I don't have I can move on. Or she says something like that. She got that nigga in her.
While I agree with that, it's just something about the energy of it. This is like these niggas. She probably thinks these niggas are stupid. It's like the Brittany Renner. Like, you'd be surprised how dumb these athletes are. Like that kind of energy.
That's because they know the game.
They running game. They're hustling.
What did you say? Like it's because Steve Harvey wrote that book about like act like a woman, think like a man.
Yeah.
What did you say?
All I was saying was like, it's funny how like a lot of these guys who write relationships about women and men in relationships get exposed in the most like public ways. Yeah, that's kind of out of his control. Like, you can write a book and
that's what we're getting at. It's out of your control, bro. It's out of your control. There's really nothing we can do as men except for make sure that the woman is pleased, or else she's gonna leave your ass.
Exactly.
That's really it. I don't know a lot of, because men really think for some reason that if you go and fuck with another girl, that you're in control of it. You just gave another girl what they want. You just going over there to spend money and blow a bag on another chick and give her what she wants. Maybe I'm thinking of it the wrong way. Who knows?
Okay.
Yes, sir, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Top Tier Podcast. This has been another great episode. Know the drill. Catch us same place, same time next week for another new episode. We'll catch you then. Peace.
Peace, y'all.